Hello everybody, welcome to the 48th and final episode of the Chicken Chess Club podcast this week with an incredible episode where we preview the World Championship match between Ding Liren and Jan Nepomniachtchi. Before we get to that, we will get through all the other action in the chess world, and who better than to tell us about everything that's happening out there than Peter Heine Nielsen. Peter, how are you today?
I'm fine. I'm, hanging out in the French Alps, so that's an interesting experience. So, life is good here at 1 kilometer above sea level. So, generally, enjoying life and looking forward to talk a bit about the World Championship match with you guys.
Must be nice. Laurent, are you depressed at least?
Yeah, I had a half night actually. I almost cancelled. So
no, what
podcast. I was sick. I feel a bit better, but I was really sick. So I don't know. Maybe I won't go into it. I don't go into much details, but I think I ate something wrong yesterday. So
please elaborate.
That was rough, but I was commenting yesterday on this Chessable Masters. So very exciting stuff. I went to Bundesliga, even more exciting. I will brag about my win on Saturday, which will annoy Peter, I'm sure.
You played? I really looked through the games and I didn't see you. You played?
Yeah, you missed it. And even Magnus, in one of the games, he repeated my game from Saturday. I was very proud during the live commentary. The last game he won against Artemiev with his D66, knight BD7. You can go and check. The fourth game of the Rapid, he just followed my
that game I saw. I didn't notice that he was linked to you, but okay.
Yeah, my game from Saturday. So I won on Saturday and made a draw on Sunday, which is a perfect plan actually.
Good for you.
It was a nice weekend.
2 great weekends for you in a row.
What about you, Jan? Yeah,
I'm all over the place. I finished this prestigious Zugzwang Streamers Tournament in Hamburg. It was amazing. Congratulations to the winner, beloved hip-hop journalist Roos, won the final against Ronnie Berger. It was quite a showdown. They reached Armageddon, but Roos prevailed. And then I went to do commentary in the next Armageddon tournament. I'm in Berlin, a very nice hotel, where I got to witness Dubov against Kramnik yesterday. Not sure we'll talk about it later, but might as well now. Kramnik flagged Dubov. They both had 1 second on the clock, and then Dubov lost on time. I did check. Dubov had the right to flag Kramnik because he's more than half his age. So he could have done it. Maybe he didn't know the rules exactly.
So did it was dirty, or it was... how does that work until the game?
It was reasonably fine, actually. Yeah, Dubov...
Okay.
Yeah, threw some pieces a little bit, but just on the last move, and that's the move he lost on time with, so it was fine. But Kramnik did hang a rook with his last move, so he had to hurry up as well.
I didn't see any infos on the tournament. Actually, no games. Who is playing there?
That is the concept.
Yeah.
Kramnik is here, Dubov is here, Abdusatorov, Gukesh, Vidit, Kartikeyan, who am I forgetting?
Jordan
is not here. No.
Okay.
Parham is here.
Okay.
Sure, I'm forgetting some world-class player. 8 people.
8 people. Okay.
But this is the Asian stage of the tour, right?
This is Asia and Oceania,
okay.
As you can see.
Who represents the Oceania? Yeah.
Nobody.
Okay, fair enough.
No. But it's kind of fun when you reach this Armageddon over the board, 5 versus 4, of course. Somehow it always comes down to the final seconds. That's all there is. Traveling around, probably I'll be doing the World Championship match commentary somewhere in German. Busy days, but can't complain too much.
Yeah, we see your hotel room and we are a bit jealous, I would say. It looks better than Peter's, actually.
Yeah.
You're always welcome, Laurent. I have a lot of space.
Mine is rather small, but should I draw the curtains, you can see incredibly beautiful mountain view. But then you will not be able to see me because of lights. So we have to make a decision on what you prefer. But no, I mean, mine is a small room, but amazing location.
Yeah. That's this week's episode. See you next week with all of the action in the Ding versus Nepomniachtchi match. What else has been happening in the chess world? The Champions Chess Tour. We have Laurent, who closely followed all the action, but unfortunately just left. So, Peter, what happened in Magnus's matches? He lost to Artemiev.
Yeah, he lost the first one. I mean, quite spectacularly. I mean, it was 4 games. Black won all the games. Magnus started losing with white, and I think he described his own play in some rather derogatory words in the online interview afterwards. And then he got pretty lucky and, won the last game when he was a complete draw. So he forced an Armageddon where he was sort of structurally outplayed, and he fought back and had a winning position, only to blunder it tactically. So basically a nightmare match. And he left himself it's a double knockout. So we didn't, the reason I'm here is that I'm with Magnus, actually. But he didn't get to go home, but now he's in this sort of loser's bracket. So, I think he has to win 5 matches and an Armageddon game to win the event. But at least yesterday he managed to beat Le Quang, or beat is too strong. He managed to eliminate him. They made 3 draws, but Magnus had black in the Armageddon game. So, Magnus is, technically speaking, he's on -1 after 8 games here, but he's still somewhat in the tournament. And today he's having a 2-game match with So. Should he win that, he would play either, I think, Aronian or Artemiev, and so on. So interesting times. But I think Caruana and Nakamura will face each other in the finals of the winners. And you know the system, right? So
you guys might think that Nakamura is a big favorite, but you probably don't know that Caruana actually beat Nakamura once in a rapid and blitz match. So
exactly.
It's going to be an exciting
It's going to be very exciting, yeah. Caruana has looked a bit sloppy. To be fair, that Nakamura isn't doing very well, and that Fedoseev is out of the tournament is pretty weird. I think in the match Fedoseev-Nakamura, first Fedoseev was leading 2-1. Nakamura equalized with black. But then in the Armageddon game, Fedoseev was completely winning with white for huge phases of the game. But in some ending, he felt for a stalemate trick, and suddenly it was a draw. But
it was a self-stalemate. I mean, that was
incredibly stupid in a way, right?
Yeah.
Magnus is not playing well. There's no doubt about it. But
no, I was paid to follow, actually. So
me too, in a way. So
that was amazingly bad. Even in the Armageddon, where you said he was doing poorly, and then he had 2 minutes against 1, he was bidding very low. I mean, he was bidding 7 minutes 58, but still, he was playing so much faster than Artemiev, which is a great player, but he's a bit slow in this time control. And 2 minutes against 1, full control winning, and he blundered his queen. So that was really a poor day for Magnus, but we have seen poor days for Magnus, and we have seen him coming back from there. So let's see today. I mean, today, at the time of recording, Wednesday, it will be a very important day.
Magnus, hopefully he gets to play 2 matches, right? So it's interesting. I mean, he has to beat So. Then he has to beat, as I said, the winner of Aronian Artemiev. Then, should he do that, he would have to beat the loser of Nakamura Caruana, and then he would have to beat the winner
twice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a considerable road ahead, but it's also a challenge, which is kind of fun in a way. I mean, should he actually manage this, it would feel like a major achievement. So let's see.
For sure.
But maybe he should switch back to just winning 3 matches. No, seems like much simpler than entering this loser's bracket.
Again, I cannot speak for him, but that was kind of my plan when we got here. That seemed like a reasonable strategy. But what do I know?
But every time you do that, you go somewhere with him in some online tournament. He's doing poorly, right?
Yeah, thanks for pointing it out. But you're actually right. I mean, I think for the last year he's just winning at home, and then he decides to go somewhere with me, and it goes badly. I can read the stats.
But that has nothing to do with you. I mean, just he's doing too much exercise in the morning. He's going to the mountains, and I guess he's walking.
I don't see him that much, to be fair. So I don't know if I'm spoiling it fully, but we'll see.
But Henrik, we know you're listening. Maybe we can negotiate here that Peter gets a little bonus for staying away. Win-win-win situation.
Yeah. I think that could be arranged without the bonus, unfortunately. So. No.
Just trying to help.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Moving on?
Yeah.
What else is happening? Lei Tingzhe keeps crushing, as I've predicted many a time. The future world champion defeated Tan Zhongyi in the women's candidates match with, I'm not sure if one can say comfortable margin. I think +2 in the end.
No, but it was a completely crushing victory. It was 5 games, but also the game she lost, I think she was much better and such, right? So it struck me as a very one-sided match.
Telling you, she's strong, and I genuinely think she might be a favorite against Zhu Wenjun in the upcoming Women's World Championship match.
Are you updated on Zhu Wenjun's latest results?
No, that's why I think Lei Tingzhe might be a favorite.
But I thought that Zhu Wenjun just won maybe a Chinese female championship, beating comeback kid Hu Yifan in the final, or am I wrong?
Ah, okay.
She's rusty, Hu Yifan.
Even so, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be interesting in a way. But China has a absurd bunch of strong female players.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I haven't followed Zhu Wenjun's career enough recently. To me, it looked like Lei Tingzhe is always up there, playing consistently well in all these women's events, and I haven't seen so much of Zhu Wenjun, but could be.
Me neither. No, it's going to be interesting, actually.
Yeah. We will, of course, cover it here in great detail. I believe that was the chess action of the week. The Champions Chess Tour and the World Chess Armageddon are still ongoing, so we can move to the big part of this episode, our big World Championship match preview. Magnus Carlsen, as you might know, has decided not to partake in this World Championship match, so we need a new champion, and it will be determined between Ding Liren from China and Jan Nepomniachtchi, who are the number 2 and number 3 players in the world. Is that correct? I haven't checked the ratings.
I really think so, yeah.
I
think it's correct.
Yeah, it is.
Alireza.
Number 4, 27.85. But yeah, Ding is 27.88 and Nepo 27.95.
That fact should be celebrated a bit. I mean, to have the 2 strong, highest rated players who are willing to play a World Championship match is, it's not that regular. So it's actually something.
Also, Nepomniachtchi at 27.95, is that a career best? He hasn't been to 2,800. No, he might be peaking right now. Ding, of course, has dropped a bunch of rating, especially in Weikantsee. He was well above 2,800. But yeah, very close in rating. Before we get to that, there's been a bit of a debate about the relevance of the match. I think even Kasparov, paraphrasing, said, it's not a real World Championship match without Magnus, and so on and so forth. I know you guys are, of course, deeply biased, but how do you feel about it anyway? World Championship match? No World Championship match? Where do you stand?
Peter?
Well, no, of course, it's clearly a World Championship match, but of course, it's also, devalued to a certain extent by... the reigning champion not choosing to play it, right? So, I just answered some interview where I said that I think, of course, it hurts the title, but not to an extent that it threatens its existence. World Championship history is incredibly long, and we have seen these hiccups now and then. So, of course, it's not great, and ideally, you have the strongest player being the world champion, and then we have the system that creates the strongest challenger, and they fight it out. And that's not the case this time. Of course, that's not ideal, but so be it.
I actually agree with Peter. It's not ideal, but it's not a disaster as well. As you mentioned, it's number 2 against number 3 in the world. So, it's kind of acceptable. Of course, it's a pity that. Magnus is not playing for the World Championship match, let's say, history and value and so on. But yeah, it's not like you get number 7 in the world against number 10. Yeah, you get two very serious players.
Yeah, there's that, and also Magnus chose not to play. It's not because of whatever other circumstances. So if he takes himself out of the equation, we can't blame the others for playing the match and having the number 2 and number 3. I think it's exciting, and we've had it plenty in chess history that you don't have the strongest player or the number 1 in the world championship match. For me, I don't know. I just enjoy classical world championship matches, so I'll certainly be following. For general attention, I guess it will go down a bit with Magnus not being in there. Also, I'm not sure how Ding's social media is doing nowadays, but I guess he's keeping a low profile there. Like, if you ask people on the street, have they heard of Nepomniachtchi and Ding? The answer will be no, almost 100% no. Well, if you ask Carlsen, I'm not sure. It might be 30% might know him, or they might say, it's some Norwegian guy and not know the name, but they've heard of Magnus. They probably haven't heard of the others, no?
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, a Nakamura-Caruana match would draw more attention, at least. I think overall, yes. So, I mean, but from a chess perspective, it's an interesting match.
But a Gotham against Bolthers match will also draw more attention.
Could be.
You got to qualify for it. So I don't think we can blame the players for it. I'm certainly.
I mean, you're saying Ding.
Looking
you have to qualify for it. Ding didn't qualify for neither the candidates nor for the match. But okay, you can.
Well, he's sort of qualified by. Yeah. Actually beating Nakamura in this last game of the candidates, when at least there was a very good chance that second place would qualify.
It's a strange situation, but now the match is there, and I mean, I could also come up with a lot of other arguments, but if you look at it from a chess perspective, it's an interesting struggle, right? And I mean, it has the potential also to surprise positively. Again, matches, have their own psychology based on how things develop and such. So it's hard to predict, but we will give it a shot to try that.
The match will start on the 9th. So probably at the time we published this episode yesterday. And it's going to be held in Astana in Kazakhstan. I haven't seen much. I've seen they do have an official website now. They have a logo, but I haven't seen that much. I also have to admit, I wasn't really seeking out interviews with the players or news, but normally you get them anyway.
They have a slogan.
What do you guys think about the
Unstoppable Minds?
The buzz before the match?
Do you have a FIDE segment today?
I don't think so.
Wondering. I think it's part of the... So we don't have a FIDE segment, so we can talk about it, yeah. So as Peter would probably talk about it, yeah. So Peter, go.
Well, there hasn't been a tremendous buzz, obviously, and having the webpage up, 11 days before the match is perhaps not ideal. But, I think also, I mean, Jan pointed to, the players themselves are not really promoting it like that either, I guess. So, I mean...
Well, it's also not their problem or their job, no, I guess. And, the prize fund is locked in and they're focused on the preparation.
Also, I mean, the situation is rather special. I mean, Ding is Chinese. He might be focused there. For Nepomniachtchi, before the previous match, you would see a lot of things. But, due to the war, I think there is much less propaganda coming there, which is reasonable during the circumstances and things like this. So, I mean, I think we will see some things within the chess world, but I think that the general media, at least in the Western world, has not really spoken about it, unlike last times, and that's how it's going to be. I mean, it's natural. You can debate if it's good or not, but I mean that it's natural and logical is very hard to argue against, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably going to be followed by the chess community. Then again, once it starts, everyone's going to be doing commentary and live streams and so on. It's a World Championship match. Mm-hmm. I think it carries enough prestige that eyeballs will be on it. But yeah, so far, the buzz has been a little underwhelming. Not sure if that's a problem for the event or the players. My best guess is no, actually.
It will feel weird to me, actually, to have a new world champion. Just, yeah.
Well, tell me about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
It's weird.
I don't know how it will feel to Magnus, that he's going to wake up someday and
Let's see.
not part of the CV.
Interesting.
That's the big question. Is he joining the next candidates tournament because he doesn't like the feeling?
Time will tell.
Asking for a Dutch friend here.
Yeah. I think, well, it depends on how the Dutch friend is doing in the rankings, right?
Yeah, it could very much depend on that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our categories. We have categories to compare. Ding Liren and Jan Nepomniachtchi, the two contestants in the World Championship match, which will be played for 14 games. Is that correct? 14 games, then if it's 7-7, it's a tiebreak. And there's a rest day every 2 days, so it's going to be quite a long event. But it's going to last a month if they go the distance.
The rest day after every 2 days is a new thing, right? It's actually a reversal of the previous rules. Last time it was after...
Oh, was after every 3 days?
Yes.
It was 3 to 3.
They were trying to make it tougher like this last time, but now they seem to have reversed it.
What was our partying schedule in Thailand? It was every other night or every third night?
After game 6 and 8.
You remember that Magnus won...
And 7.
I mean, Magnus won game 6 and 8, which was without any free days. So I think...
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, but how did he played 1 to 3 in one go, then 4-5, then 6 to 8, and 9-10, so that we could party more often towards the end.
No, okay. I mean, it was A, to make it tougher for the opponents. B, also like doing this like this, you will have 3 days with different color game coming up afterwards, and you don't have to do the strange thing of having repeat colors in the middle of the match. I don't know if they have reworded to that. Well, you can see I'm not paying that smart attention to details for this match.
I guess they do.
Yeah.
There used to be this argument, if you have a rest day every other day, that then if you are always black on the day after the rest day, that it's tougher because you can get hit in the opening. I'm not sure if that applies in 2023 anymore, but I think Kasparov had that point back in the days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, also just... I don't know. That's just how they did it, right?
Yeah, Nepo, I think he was complaining after game 6 that, that the game was too long and he had to play the same day. He made... so maybe it's something he asks to FIDE.
But that could still happen, no? Like, if the first game is too long, you still have to play the
but
same
at least you have more chances to get to FIDE.
You're starting to steal my argument already, yeah.
No, but it's normal to discuss with the players. Even Magnus discussed with FIDE, no?
You think FIDE has discussed with Ding?
Why not?
I thought Ding found out about where the venue was via the press in Wijk.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if you should, but I guess they do. Actually, they do discuss with the players, and it's not bad, no? I mean, if everyone agrees, I mean, why not? Okay, this is a detail, no? I don't think it changes much. I mean, this 3-day stuff.
No.
Yeah. Personally, I think it's fine. World Championship matches are so intense and so much pressure that they have a rest day after 2 games. I think is all right, and the excitement, if there is any, will still be high enough. Yeah, it's also a question, of course, of costs and how much you want to drag out the event and so on. But I don't think it takes anything away. Okay, let's get to the categories.
Yeah.
Opening preparation. We use our time-trusted system that you can give up to 5 points. I'm not sure who we compare it to, either to the standards of World Championship matches or to each other, but we'll just give a number.
Yeah, exactly. No, in general, I compare to the world best players, and
that's also legal.
Yeah.
So what do you have, Laurent? Opening preparation.
I gave 3 for Ding because, it was not great the last couple of years in candidates. It used to be a bit better, but it has never been his a very strong point among the for Ding, in my opinion. And to Nepo, I understand you gave. I'm spoiling Jan's score. He gave a 5 out of 5. I mean, the work is done, but I only did put a 4 because I don't like they are clearly. Actually, in the previous match or in the it's too predictable in my view.
They like your
just too much.
your creativity and the ability to think out of the engine, right?
No, I mean, in these choices, simply is way too predictable in my opinion. But okay, and yeah, I don't think it's good these days, especially as white. I mean, if you are very predictable, then your opponent won't have many troubles to equalize. So yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, I gave him a 5 since you mentioned it. I agree with Ding. Like, he plays sound openings and sound values, and sometimes, or quite often, he has some ideas, especially in his white systems with d4 and c4. But he's one of the few who has very rarely played one e4, although he was kind of doing it in Vaikanze. We don't know if that was a smoke screen or if he's just trying to expand his range there. And with black, he's also been narrow in the Marshall, where, of course, we know a little something as well. Sometimes it felt like, yeah, he stuck to his systems a little too long, or he wasn't completely up to date, and hurt him once or twice in the candidates, where I think Nepomniachtchi hit him in the opening once, and there were some other incidences. Bobby. Yeah, so I think 3 for Ding is fine, but of course, we don't know the work that's been going into it. As for Nepomniachtchi, yeah, I was between 4 and 5, because of course I also had that thought about not being so predictable, but first of all, he's rocky solid with black now. He can be very predictable there. He can just keep playing his Petrov. He's already been getting hit in all the spots where he could get hit, and it just keeps getting tighter with every game, I think, so no real reason to change there. And it just looks like, because he used to not be an opening specialist, if we think some years back, that was never his strong suit. But all his work that's been done for the 2 candidate matches, for the World Championship match, he can really, really feast on it. I also guess he changed his habits, became more serious, brings more seconds to the tournaments and so on. So I'm not sure. He played a lot of d4 recently, which you could argue is the same like Ding's e4, that he's just trying to confuse Ding, and then he's going to go back to e4. But to me, it looks like he added some range with the white pieces as well, playing d4, e4, c4, having some ideas here and there. So yeah, you could argue if it's 4 or 5, but if you think about the best prepared players in the world, names that typically come up are Fabi, Magnus, Giri. I think he's very much on that level, so I felt wrong to give him a 4.
I think he's a bit behind, yeah, exactly. I mean, this category of Fabi, Giri, Magnus, and I would put Nepo in the next one, but I don't know. Peter?
Yeah, it's close. Peter can be the arbiter.
Yeah, I have also given Nepo a 4. I think his preparation is technically very good and probably like faultless, but I think it lacks some practical punch. Of course, you can argue a World Championship match is one of the few events where +1 score is excellent, so maybe you don't need more, but I mean, like, well, with Magnus, with white, well, he would perhaps play optical moves based on computer preparation, but he would get very little and he would not have any kind of effect. So, I mean, well, it lacks maybe some surprise and some practical approach in that sense. When you mention, let's say, Magnus and Fabi, I think they are very practically minded. And when you mentioned Giri, well, I would say his level is still higher in a technical sense than Nepom. So I only gave him a 4. But I think his defensive prep is excellent, but it lacks a little bit in the offensive side. And we can call it...
So you didn't want to say it, but you just agree with me.
Yeah,
as simple as that.
Something like that, to be honest. Well, I mean, also, we spend a lot of time together. You have listened to me. I mean, well, it seems to, sink in there, right? Yeah, I think we see it very similarly in that sense. No, I mean, I agree. With Ding, maybe I will disagree slightly. If anything, I mean, I was leaning more towards 2 than towards 4 with him. But I think he has good preparation, or sometimes in the practical sense, he will just do his English position, which he likes and feels quite well for. But he's both had a mix of, let's say, naivety at times, by sort of not surprising or things like that, and maybe also I mean, it's been a while since we've seen him as being very impressive. But also, again, if we take 2019 Ding, he was excellent. I mean, there's not that much info on Ding recently, right? But the candidates, he's been in the weaker side of prep, is my general impression. But I somehow like him quite as well there. So, I mean, I would not be shocked if he actually comes out with quite interesting prep in terms of how he wants to play Nepomniachtchi. So, I mean, but I think that technically, of course, Nepom is on a somewhat higher level there.
Yeah, hard to argue. Last point, because of the lack of surprise, I feel it's maybe a bit under the impression of the Magnus match as well, where you could argue as long as the score is tight, it's also not necessarily in Nepomniachtchi's interest to surprise and give up some equity and play a wilder game might not be optimal strategy. So to keep it tight there, I think might have been match specific. And I would also argue that he did get a little something against Magnus out of the opening, even with that approach in game number 5, was it? He was seriously better than in one of the quieter games. Magnus had to make a lot of excellent moves. So, yeah, I hear your point that it seems like they are trying to be very clean and sticking to the first computer lines, just getting the number there. But overall, I think there's so much work and so many ideas being produced that he will have a richer chest of stuff to choose from, most likely. So I think highly of his preparation. Let's move on. Current form. Peter, you want to start?
I can do that. I've given Nepom a 4. I mean, well, in Düsseldorf, it was, I would say, up and down, but finished quite on a high note, if I recall correctly, right? I mean, he even got into the playoffs. I mean, it was nothing spectacular, but still he ended on a solid plus score. And then, well, he's won 2 candidates, so he's actually shown some stuff there. I mean, well, particularly winning the last candidate. So his form, while not being spectacular, is rather good. And I think with Ding, well, of course, Wijk was a pretty horrible experience. You could argue that 2 is too much in a way, but okay, he was not doing too badly in the candidates. Managed to get to number 2. He did pretty well in this Chinese rating tournaments, right? I don't know if you count that. So I think also 2 is kind of fair for him. But I mean, well, the reason that we think Ding has a considerable chance of doing well in this match is because we think of 2019 Ding. It's been a while since we've seen that Ding. So I think 2 is a reasonable number for his current form. Ding has to be better than he is. We have seen him recently to be competitive.
Yeah, agree with that. I also gave him 2 out of 5, although it's mainly under the Wijk impression. And we know Wijk is a special event. He was there by himself. He was playing 1e4 and so on. So I'm not sure how much we can and should read into it. And the candidates, yeah, he wasn't stellar maybe, but he did finish second. So it's hard to call that a major disappointment. But yeah, we haven't seen him on a steady world-class level. Also because we haven't seen him play much during COVID. He really didn't play much other than these online tournaments and whatever games he had to play to be eligible for the candidates. So yeah, hard to judge. Nepomniachtchi, yeah, you've mentioned in Düsseldorf, he really didn't look that impressive at the start, made draws, even some shaky draws. Also seemed like he was not going for opening debates. But he did finish well. And yeah, I think 3 or 4 or whatever you want to call it is fine. He's established himself, at least by rating now, as the world number 2. So hard to argue with his form. Also, crashing the candidates back to back is a pretty impressive achievement.
They actually play very, very little. I mean, both of them. It's just when you look at, I mean, like, you cannot give them a 5 for sure. And as you said, Nepo is picking every time he's playing since the match. Actually, he's doing very, very good results. But yeah, they play so little, both of them. That's it's hard to think that they will be in incredible shape.
Yeah, yes. The match will tell us. It's the eternal question: how many games you want to play before, how much you want to train. Nepomniachtchi last time said he overtrained and he was too exhausted from all the training camps. I guess also his sporting regimen and so on. This time it sounded like, we don't know, of course, and I'm sure work is being done. He wanted to take it a little easier. And for Ding, we don't have a clue, frankly. No, we don't know if he's sitting alone somewhere clicking. We know he's working on chess, but what help he has, how it looks like, I don't know anything.
No,
we don't.
It's a strange preview. We have extremely little information due to normally, right? I mean, well, Napom is not open about it this time, which is, reasonable from his perspective.
Yeah, but there we have a pretty good idea, right? We know who his team is to some extent, at least.
Only to some extent, I guess. Or maybe, I don't know. So,
but I'd be very surprised if it wasn't the usual guys. No, it's Matlakov, Vityugov, Khairulin.
Yeah.
Leko, I don't know. He was in the picture last time, but I would guess he's around. Who are we forgetting?
I would be a bit. I mean, you're forgetting Potkin. I would be a bit surprised if
Potkin. Yeah,
I would be a bit surprised if Potkin is there, because then we will have guys like me tweeting pictures of him together with Kayakin recently and such. I think they would have avoided that. So I don't know. I mean, there is, at least last time they were doing it quite publicly, sponsors, soft tech and such. And with Ding, we have. I literally have no clue. I cannot mention 1 second. I have no idea. I mean, we will talk about it later, but I have no idea which kind of level of support Ding has, simply.
Yeah. I doubt we'll find out. I'd be shocked if he didn't have it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
After this, we talked about it at some point ago, this big Chinese project really to become world-class in whatever you want to call it, Western chess for the last 30 years. And it was communicated at some point that the end game was to be the open world champion. And now that there's a match, I mean, it would be shocking if they didn't throw whatever resources they have added. But yeah, we genuinely don't know. And Ding might also not be the most proactive in seeking sponsorship and asking people to help him. Still doesn't call Laurent up to this day, which really...
That's just amazing.
Just
amazing
careless.
Mistake from Ding. Yeah, I'm very curious to see, some when the players arrive, they generally take some pictures. So with whom he will be traveling, just get there. I mean, what will be the delegation? 5 people, 10, 2?
But usually you also don't show your seconds, no? At least not at the arrival.
If Ding contacted you now, I mean, you would be cheaper than if he contacts you desperately after game 7. Or how does it work? Sort of.
I have to think about it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wow, playing hard to get now.
Yeah.
Ding. He's bluffing anytime.
I think so.
I have to try everything, all kind of strategy. I know he's listening.
I think there was some picture of Ding sitting in a plane recently, but no details about team.
Wow, shocking.
Yeah.
To Paris.
Probably not.
To Paris.
Yeah.
Alireza.
Mm-hmm.
The fashion thing is just an excuse. Alireza just went to work full-time for Ding.
That would be quite something. But sounds like a strange mix, to be honest. But again.
No, sounds great.
Yeah.
Let's get to fighting spirit. I gave Ding 5 out of 5. I am not sure if that's accurate, but he doesn't seem to crack much, even if things don't go his way. That's what I was mainly basing it on. Okay, now Vike was an overall disaster, but you could argue there was a preparation tournament. And in the candidates, we've seen him fight back more than once from pretty bad starts. So I think calmly that he does have a lot of fighting spirit and confidence in him. As for Nepomniachtchi, it's hard to judge because he's looked so good and stable recently. I still only gave him 2, which might be on the low side. But yeah, once he loses a game, he's very often been falling apart, not just in the match, but also in tournaments prior to that. I'm not sure if you can call that fighting spirit because he's not a chicken. He very much believes in himself and he will play the games out. But maybe it's more of a nerves thing which played into it for me. But it could also be that with all the success recently, it's been overcome to some extent. He didn't lose a game, though, in either of the candidates. No, in the first candidates, he lost 1 game, but then there was a 1-year break. In the second, I don't think he lost one. So I'm very curious to see if he loses a game, how he will react. That's been his Achilles heel. Other than that, what do you guys have?
I fully agree with you on Ding case. I mean, all the time he's playing all his games and taking some, at times, like fighting decision during his games. That's how I hated it. But Nepo, he changed. His style came to, it's a bit more matured. And in second part of candidates, I remember the first one when he qualified to play. When it was this 2020-21. He took some quick draws as white, so it changed a bit. And that's why I think it's good for him actually. But that's why I only gave him a 2 actually, or 3. 3.
I think you gave him a 3. Yeah. I also wasn't sure because he's clearly a fighter. He's just how he reacts to losses. That's the big question.
Yeah, he's thinking now a bit. Much more about the result, and that's how you become a chicken. We can testify about it. I'm on Sunday mornings, Bundesliga game. I'm only thinking about the result.
Wow! Don't tell anybody. People weren't aware.
Well, but you're thinking about one specific result, right?
No, with White, he's also thinking, I have to play something, but I don't want to take any risks. So
exactly.
Can I play this line, or will Peter be upset? It's not easy to be Laurent.
You can always ask. Yeah. Fair enough.
Peter.
I gave Ding a 4. I don't think he's in the 5 category, but I agree that he has this kind of robustness that, you saw it in both candidates. He actually comes quite back and, he seemed, maybe I'm confused that he's such a nice guy, but he seems to be a considerable fighter still. And I don't think there's much evidence of him completely collapsing mentally to a certain extent. I don't think he has this complete winner gene that we, for instance, would see in someone like Magnus, but he's tough. And should he get behind the match? He's going to give it a serious effort, no doubt. I don't know, it's not a topic, but sometimes, people always talk about match experience having some relevance. I do think it's probably tough playing your first World Championship match. It's going to be, I don't think you can simulate the feeling. You will probably feel there. I think having said that, I'm not sure there's any statistical evidence of, people being particularly hurt from not having match experience. So I don't count that too much, but, we're giving him a 4. Nepom, I gave a 2. I agree that he's gotten quite better, but I still think he's very capable of creating this narrative that, okay, things are not working for me and stopping to, this kind of negative spiraling. It hasn't happened much. It hasn't happened in these 2 candidates, but also, we have to remember that the 2 candidates went incredibly smoothly for him. He started out well and things like that. Of course, the match, you saw him completely collapsing. Of course, it's easier to collapse against Magnus, but you have seen it with him sometimes, and while I think you can, of course, improve it a lot under extreme pressure, and World Championship matches is the most extreme pressure there is, your bad habit tends to come back. So I think should things go badly for him, he could end up in his, bad mental framework. But I think most likely he will not. But I think, Nepom will probably do well in his match, but I don't think it's because of his mental toughness. It's because of other skills.
Fair enough. Let's get to the most important category, the hair. I gave Ding 3 out of 5. Always has a solid haircut. Not a lot of variation there. I would enjoy it if he tries something for the match. Maybe, I don't know, nice little undercut or Nepomniachtchi style. Get the ponytail. But I have my doubts. Nepomniachtchi also gave a 3 out of 5. Also solid haircut, but I would be willing to go up to 5 out of 5 if he also went back to the ponytail. I think ponytail should be an automatic 5 out of 5.
Magnus is playing with a ponytail here from Switch, right?
I haven't seen him.
Okay,
yeah,
has he gotten a haircut since the Oslo camp?
No, he didn't.
Wow.
Apparently, from what I could judge, I don't think he got any. So I will give, I gave a 3 to both of them. I'm going to be generous today and to give a 3 to Jan as well. I can see you did some good stuff last time. It was a 2. It was a bit rude, but today it's a 3 for you, Jan.
It was a 1. Don't think it was
a 1.
Forget Yeah.
So it's a 3 today because it's it's nice. I like
it. Means a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much. I won't shower now, just to make sure my hair stays exactly this way.
Peter,
did you weigh in?
Yeah, no, not yet. I gave Ding a 3. I think, that's my go-to move when I think, he has impeccable hair, but also just, it's very systematic. It's, there is very little to say about Ding's hair, right? So that's just a 3. With Jan, no, I've given him a 4, but I agree with Gusti's things. It depends on the ponytail. I have sort of calculated in that, it could be a ponytail, it could not, and that's why I actually agree with Jan that probably not, and then he will drop to a 3. But when he talks about changing the approach from last time, he might just decide that Jan has to be Jan, and he will show up with a ponytail because that's how he enjoys. So that's actually, that's what I very much would recommend him to do. But it's my impression he doesn't listen to my advice, especially not about hair. So I doubt he would do it, but I think. That would show confidence if he comes like that. But we will see. It's actually an interesting point of the match. Which kind of hair will he bring?
Yeah, it's an important factor. Then let's get to Peter's favorite category, the ties to Russia. I gave Ding 1 out of 5. He is Chinese, so you can't get a 0. And Nepomniachtchi, who obviously is Russian, a 4 out of 5. I'm not sure. Depends, of course, how you
gave him 5 out of 5.
You gave me 5.
I did not. I gave a 4. I gave myself a 5 out of 5.
Sorry. Okay.
No, of course you can read into that question. Whatever you like. He's Russian. I guess he will play under the defeated flag.
That he has to legally, but he hasn't changed his federation from Russia to FIDE, for instance. I will get my time to talk. You can say what you want.
Yeah, no, but he had a statement against the war, as far as I know. He signed the statement with other grandmasters, so that's why I also gave him a 4. Because obviously he has ties to Russia, but actually he did publicly take position against the war. So Peter.
Peter, all yours.
Yes. Just to keep you guys, hanging there a bit, I will start with Ding. I gave him a 0. Obviously it's ties to Russia, but I would also say that, if we look at it in terms of state support, I think we don't know yet, but my feeling is Ding has much, much less support. I don't know it, but that would be my fear for him, that I agree that it's puzzling towards this Chinese project, and they are so close to the finish line. Does he win this? They have done this incredible feat of winning both championships, which would be simply amazing. But, as you said, it's hard to imagine that Ding has just said, okay, guys, I need 5 guys working full time, and I need access to the most powerful computers we have here in China. I don't see Ding doing it. And while they should be supporting him heavily, it's not the vibe we have gotten in other tournaments, and that they will suddenly change like this, I kind of doubt. So I would be worried for him in terms of technology, support, all these kind of things, right? We haven't seen any Chinese propaganda so far as I know. Maybe it's just because I'm much better Googling Russian stuff than Chinese stuff. It could be, but it certainly is the case. But I kind of doubt it in that way, there. Then, okay, getting to Nyapom. I gave him 4 out of 5. A lot of it is lack of knowledge. For instance, for the previous match, he was a clear 5 out of 5. He was having tons of state support, oligarch sponsorships, a lot of money for financing would appear in somewhat nationalistic settings and these kind of things. Kayakin would be flown in, blah, blah, blah. They were very much playing this card, no doubt. And he had, the Skolkovo supercomputer. This time, I have no clue. And it's not because of lack of asking. Again, people who follow me on Twitter could see that I regularly asked. Does he have access to a supercomputer? We don't know. Laurent mentioned this statement that around 50 Russian grandmasters signed in the beginning of the match, of the full-scale invasion. Since then, he have had Norilsk Nickel as a sponsor. he probably have sponsorship that we don't know about, but well, there is very little knowledge these days, so it's harder to predict. But it's difficult for me to imagine that there is not a lot of support for Nepomniachtchi in this case. And also, well, you can see that, he has a choice. Does he choose to represent the Russian Chess Federation, or does he choose to be registered under FIDE? And he's chosen the Russian Chess Federation. So, I mean, he's playing on that side, and that could be a practical necessity to, have optimize his chances. But that's why I end up on 4 out of 5. There's a lot of uncertainty in a way, but I think in terms of support, he's on a completely different level than Ding, no doubt. And well, that's also why I see him as a moderate favorite in the match because of the huge inequality in terms of help.
You brought back some nice memories actually when you mentioned this that they flew in kayaking. Actually, that was really funny.
Yeah,
we were with Jan enjoying some cocktail in some terrace in Thailand.
We got very scared when we saw kayaking with the sunglasses.
Full panic, so we decided. We
only ordered one more cocktail.
To order some more, but also to go back at some point.
No, but I mean, this is it's just an example of propaganda. It works for national media. It shows that, okay, we are trying everything, but we're going to fail anyway. But of course, for us, as you said, you would just sit in the bar and laugh because you thought it has zero impact, right? I mean, if anything...
Yeah, because
we thought it was good news. I mean,
exactly.
That. It seemed a bit desperate, and you have some new guy like bringing in some chaos, some randomness, distracting, like
we were mocking.
We thought it was good news, but yeah.
I mean, like kayaking. What can he say? He can tell Nepo, look, I was on +1, I still lost.
Look, the Spanish, Jan. You didn't know this, but the Marshal.
Now you're on -2.
No,
doesn't look good, yeah.
No. I mean, it's just propaganda, and if anything, as you said, it probably has a negative effect. I mean, you get this guy coming in, and he's probably annoying, right? I mean, well, do we honestly believe kayaking hope that he would win? It's not even a given, right?
That's true.
Yeah, no.
Probably not.
But anyway, thanks for bringing up, for giving you some memory if you enjoyed, Laurent.
Yeah, no, thank you. I forgot about that, actually.
I will still hope that after match 7, after game 7, Ding down -1, we see Laurent with the sunglasses and the hoodie at Astana Airport.
Yeah. No, that would be something.
Yeah, it's never too late, my boy. Ding, come on, behave yourself. Give me a call.
All right, let's get predictions. Oh, I didn't do predictions.
Me neither. We can start with Laurent.
Winner and score. Laurent has predictions.
Yeah, this is not really a prediction. This is my hope. Actually, I think Nepo is a favorite, but I'm voting for Ding. And I hope if he gets to win a game before Nepo, then we are doing well with my boy Ding. Play well, win games. That would be my advice, Ding. So please, so 7.5, 5.5 for our team against Nepo.
Also, Laurent, once you get there and you gave your advice, win games, then if he doesn't win the next game, you should mention, okay, we have different styles. So my advice is not that useful. That's very important as well.
Okay.
Anyway, I find it very, very tough to predict still, although, of course, I think in general it has shifted that even after the candidates, but certainly before, Ding was considered to be a small favorite, and because of Vaik and also because of Ding's solo trips and not having anybody there, then with Nepomniachtchi doing well, I think it has shifted a bit that people now consider Nepomniachtchi a bit of a favorite, and it's hard to disagree with that.
Bookmakers is the same. It used to be 55-45 for Ding, now it's 55-45 for Nepomniachtchi.
Yeah, I think that's the general feel, and it feels sort of right. I still think that we have to price in this factor that if Ding takes the lead, the match could be over, while if Nepomniachtchi takes the lead, it won't matter that much to Ding. So I feel it's very, very close. And I will take Ding and tie breaks. Let's live a little.
Wow. Okay.
Although, disclaimer, I think 55% for Nepomniachtchi is correct.
Okay. I will say 7.5, 5.5 for Nepomniachtchi. I mean, I'm surprisingly, at least that's my impression, on very good friendly terms with both players. But I am rooting for Ding in this match, but that's to to a huge extent political, and perhaps so is my prediction. I think that both, Russian state support, to some extent FIDE support, is going to be helpful for Nepomniachtchi in this match. So I see him as the favorite there, but it's very hard to predict. But now, we basically hedged our bet, right? We have taken all the sensible guesses with any kind of
Well, it's a fairly equal match. Nepomniachtchi has shown slightly better form recently. Ding might have a slightly better track record historically, rating-wise. So who knows? I'm not so sure, because you keep bringing up the help, especially with engines being so strong nowadays. And Ding obviously has the time to prepare. How much of a factor it really is, because computer engines so strong are really a big equalizer. And even to have super fast engines nowadays, you don't need access to any supercomputers. So as long as the time is being put in, and knowing Ding, even if he puts in a lot of time himself, I think it's hard to be at too big a disadvantage in the opening. It's a bit more of a question about the infrastructure on site. If he's comfortable, if he has people to hang out with, if he wants people to hang out with, if he prefers being by himself, it's very hard to read. But I don't think this support in chess terms matters that much at this time.
I'm also thinking of these things that, the venue might be a bit more comfortable for Nepomniachtchi. He will have, probably more people going with him, while we don't know yet. But I think for Ding, it will be more unfamiliar, more lonely and stuff like that. Maybe that's what he prefers, but I don't know. That's just my guess, that there is some of these things that sums up to the advantage in percentages I spoke about. It's not massive. If Dings comes in super form with a lot of confidence, who cares about these smaller details, right? But again, we don't know yet, and they do count.
Also, I think usually the best indicator is whoever wins the first game, right? And it could be either, but whoever wins the first game will be a big favorite, even with this long distance.
No, that's also, again, to brag about having some world championship experience. But, people try to make statistics of what matters and such. And, they talk about match experience, blah, blah, blah. My general feeling is just that, being the best player is an incredible advantage. It sounds stupid, but, why can't we just sum it down to that? The best player has pretty big edge in these kind of events. And,
but that's why the debate is so close here, because we really don't know. No, they're very close to each other historically, rating-wise, results.
Well, also, but you can still imagine the match ending. At some point, we will say, okay, Ding was a clearly better player, or you can say, Nepomniachtchi was a clearly better player. It's very likely. We just don't know yet. No, there is many narratives that could come out, is my impression. We'll see.
Agreed. All right, that was our preview. We'll try to cover the match on the chicken channels if things go according to plan. We might even get together, do daily recaps in one or another constellation. It is the World Championship match. I'm excited no matter what the circumstances. Can't wait. Any closing statements?
Yeah, I thought, I will say that I think Nepomniachtchi is going to play 1 e4 in the match. And I don't know, but we haven't spoken a bit about that. I thought that was the plan. We actually brought a chessboard for this video, right?
I will move the pieces. So you think you will play e4, or you can move.
Yeah. So? I guess that the Ding will reply the Marshal, although I'm not fully certain, but that sounds likely. I will just take a strange gamble and say, I think Ding is going to play 1 c4, but I don't know. That's somehow...
Every game?
Not every game, but that we will see quite some c4. A slightly less theoretical approach, but trying to get playable positions that he feels familiar with in a way. You saw how difficult it was for Magnus to break through the Catalan last time. Is Ding going to try that? I don't know.
Hard to say, but it would be odd to me if he put all his eggs in this c4
no, I don't.
basket. Could be he's not touching e4 and he's going to try difference. C4, d4, knight f3, g3, stay in that territory. But I'd be shocked if you open every game with 1 c4.
Yeah.
As for Nepomniachtchi, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Of course, e4 is going to be around. But I wouldn't be surprised if d4s or c4s, which have been part of his program regularly, are also done. I could also see him doing a kind of, He probably thinks he has a better team and can react more quickly. So then the classical strategy is to try e4, d4, c4, see where you feel you can poke, and then go there.
Well, last time he tried, indeed, quite unsuccessfully, just to wear down Magnus by hitting the same spot all the time. But I don't know if he's sort of willing to, to start jumping around in areas you are not familiar with. You sort of expose yourself to, Ding is going to have some kind of surprise that's going to feel a bit unfamiliar to him. I mean, again, I don't know if he has
going 1c4, he's not really unfamiliar, and his d4, I think nowadays it's so easy to familiarize yourself with the work is going in. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I could be wrong. We'll see. I'm saying they will jump. I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree. Ding probably won't play much e4.
Yeah. No, I don't think they will jump much as white. But okay, let's see. Nepo will go e4. He will do exactly the same than he did the previous match. If it goes wrong, then he will try something different. But
so, what do you think? He's just gonna play Marshall 8a4 every game, or
I mean, if it goes well, I mean, of course, if he has nothing, but he will have nothing, because there's. Yeah.
Well, what do you think he's going to get? I mean, Ding does have computers, right? And he will probably anticipate that option.
Let's see. Mm-hmm. So maybe.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
No, of course, very interesting.
Could very much happen in the first game to see. And if you only go e4, you have to be ready in the Italian or some surprise as well. But he's always played both. As I said, I expect him to try multiple first moves.
Yeah, I'm a bit less certain about that, but again, so much is also going to depend on how the match develops and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for me, it's obvious that I think Nepom is much more e4 player than the others.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah, we'll find out. Will Black? I would guess for Nepomniachtchi, okay, he doesn't expect e4 anyway. He will say, okay, I'll stick to the Petrov if he really wants to do e4. I'll repeat the files a little more. But yeah, it would be strange to change that when you feel it's not very likely either way. Against d4 is also hard to see him deviating too much from. I don't think he's coming back to the Grunfeld. So it's very, very likely he will go knight f6, e6, and then play the Nimzo after knight c3 and d5 after knight f3. No, going for whatever Catalan line they prepared. He could stick with his bishop e7 or pick another line. Plenty of lines there. dc4, c5, for example, seems very likely as well.
But again, I mean, we also lack some imagination. We are basically just saying that, it feels like we're preparing for the previous match. We're expecting them to do exactly the same. I somehow still think that they will do it, and this is modern times. But it's just, we're not giving them credit for coming up with any kind of surprises.
Yeah, because they didn't do it.
I agree.
Well, you make some adjustments, no? Like in Catalan, if he's not happy with bishop e7, you can prepare whatever. dc4 followed by c5 or some surprise. But I'd be very shocked because also, this is modern times. It's not like you play the Grunfeld in that match, then knight f6, e6 in that match, and now you prepare the Slav or whatever, the Queen's Gambit accepted. I'd be quite surprised if you didn't go knight f6, e6.
No, that's what I feel as well. They're going to come with exactly the same skeleton of openings as they used to, and they will have some details here and there. But, I mean, it's hard for me to see them going, maybe Ding could play the Nimzo with white or something like that. I don't know. I mean, you can expect something like this, but still.
But first of all, he's been doing that. And
exactly.
Always something you take into account. No, the e3 Nimzo, the f3 Nimzo, Queen c2 Nimzo.
Yeah.
I mean, that has been a big part of the preparation for the last match, surely, as well.
Do you think we will see them, some of them trying to do our beloved free rolls, trying to minimize play? Or are they just going to aim for, I think Ding is going to aim for playable positions in a way.
Yeah.
Nepomniachtchi, maybe less so, but
I don't know. Like, I would guess it's more Team Nepomniachtchi style, but I think both sides are usually trying, as we said earlier, Nepomniachtchi. They're trying to get the number, which is tougher and tougher to get, of course, nowadays, especially with the white pieces. And as for Ding, I'm not sure we're giving him enough credit for being practical with white. He knows where the game dies down and he knows where to look for ways to continue. So I think he is actually, in a way, quite smart there, finding spots where he can play. But I don't think he's the type who will say, okay, this is a draw if he finds 7 computer moves, but maybe he has looked at this. I don't think that's his approach. His approach is normally keep a fighting position.
Well, I think Nepomniachtchi would probably have loved to free roll more with Magnus. It's just very hard in this martial area. So, I mean, that's...
Yeah, that's also why you
Yeah.
Well, you choose it, right? I mean,
yeah, of course. I mean, it's just two players which we see as very conservative, who will do the stuff they that's actually perhaps. For someone who works with this, is by far the most interesting aspect of the match for me in many ways. I mean, how is this thing gonna develop? So I thought it made sense that we talk about it. But it sounds like we all think that they are basically just gonna stick with basically public knowledge, adding, of course, a few ideas here and there. But it's not like we see them like Kramnik. He will come up with the Berlin against Kasparov. I mean, we don't think that some of them has invented new concepts to that extent.
Times have changed so much. I would be surprised. I think the choices is more.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you play the what's it called? The Wesley Semi-Tarrasch or the classical Semi-Tarrasch or the Queen's Gambit Decline, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be really shocked if it was, I don't know, the Slav, for example, from the Pommershey Will Black.
Yeah, that would puzzle me tremendously. I mean, Ding could maybe do it, but also, I mean, Ding will be heavily focused on, I think, white prep and on prep against 1e4 would be my guess.
Ding against one d4, I guess is also not his priority, which normally means then you more or less keep your stuff. I'm not even sure what he's up to, but most likely also knight of 6e6 business, no? And then similar choices.
That's maybe also my argument for going 1d4 as Nepom. Well, it's less tempting because you don't really know what you're going to get. While against e4, of course, you can argue if you know you're going to get something you really dislike, then you should at least play the lottery and go d4, right? But
no, exactly. If you play e4 and you get the Petrov or the Berlin, or you don't have any spots where you want to look in the Marshall.
Fair enough.
Or the Italian.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Maybe some Italians would show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Shocking would be Ding playing the Sicilian, for example. Even the Pommershey playing the Najdorf, I wouldn't completely rule out if Ding goes e4, but I would be.
Yeah, that's also.
Yeah, doesn't look like
very likely. I honestly don't see Ding playing 1e4.
Are you sure?
Yes.
This I can see. Because it's 100% sure Petrov is very likely, so you can...
Yeah, but you get this one World Championship match on live. Are you actually going to stake it on something that's so unfamiliar for you? I don't see that. I mean...
But how does it matter if it's unfamiliar? If you get the Petrov to click some buttons in the position after whatever bishop d6, you don't have to be very familiar.
Of course, if some guy called him and says, okay, we busted the Petrov, perhaps you would like to know. I mean, sure.
At least try it once.
Yeah.
He's strong enough that he can play
I did bust the Petrov Ding.
Sorry?
Please, call me.
Yeah. Laurent has it. Yes.
I have a big... No, but Anand played 1d4 in his match against Kramnik.
But I mean, it was this was a very, very long project, and it was different times in a way. But and it wasn't that successful. Well, it was okay, but
no, it was not.
Yeah, and this was
the thing is, if Ding chose not to play any 1e4, his Vike approach would look even more simplistic. No. This tournament, I will play 1e4, so then never play it in the match. That will confuse them so much. I mean, that almost feels too basic to me, but maybe there was a thing.
I love it. It's so incredibly basic that it's charming, right? I mean, it's just so. I don't know. Maybe he didn't know at the time. But I mean, well, also if he was flirting with the idea, then Vike has somewhat put him off. But we will see. I just don't. Well, I wouldn't expect it. But I mean, before the Bonn match with Anand against Kramnik, we were paying, considerable attention to some prep against 1e4, which was quite stupid. I mean, we prepared the dragon for some reason that is hard to explain. I mean, it takes a lot of focus if you somehow start believing your opponent will do kind of stuff like this. It's better to just say, okay, this is a stupid, he will never do that, and then ignore it more or less.
Yeah, but before every match, people come up with a game plan against e4 and d4 nor.
Of course.
They do. Before every tournament.
Yeah, I understand.
We will see. Yep. Starts on the 9th. We will try to follow the action here because it's going to be very interesting, at least the openings and the ideas we'll see. Can't wait. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe on all our channels, rate, review, all the good stuff. Hit the bell.
Watch our recaps and so on. Take care.
Watch our recaps. Bye.
Bye-bye.